Welcome, Vero Nation, to the Coach's Corner, presented by Caps Pizza and Pub. Here's your host, Paul Tipton.
Hey, Vero Nation, thanks for joining us here as we get our season debut of Coach's Corner underway and get set for the 2025 season. Thanks for joining us, Vero Nation, as we're here hosted by Caps Pizza. I want to thank John and his crew here. They always do such a fine job of taking care of us here on a Tuesday night here at Caps Pizza. Got a couple of familiar faces with me tonight. On my left, it's Gary Perez. He's been my co-host for umpteen years now and been a part of the program. What is it, about 40 years now or so?
About 44.
44 years. Okay. Give or take a few years here and there. But football's been a big part of his life for many, many, many years. And, of course, on my right is a very familiar face. You see him on the sidelines on Friday night. He is the face of the program for Vero Beach Fighting Indians football, our head coach, Lenny Jankowski. Guys, welcome back as we get another season underway. Hard to believe, huh?
Crazy, right? Yeah, thank you. It's a fun time of year, obviously, to get with you guys and know that we're in the middle of it, or getting ready to get in the middle of it anyway. And so yeah, it's always fun and good to be back.
Coach, we got things started off this past Friday night with the Treasure Coast Kickoff Classic. We took on Miami Norland, but it was a pretty special weekend of football as you had 6 teams come into the Citrus Bowl from Friday all the way through Saturday. In fact, we were just talking about it before we got started with the show, how long of a day it was for you on Saturday. But some really great high school football was on the field there between Friday and Saturday.
Yeah, tremendous amount of talent. So there were 6 of the top teams in the state. You know, when you start talking about the top teams in the state, you're talking about some of the top teams in the country. And so as you mentioned, we played Miami Norland on Friday night at 7. And then there were 2 games on Saturday. There was Miami Carroll City took on Tallahassee Lincoln in the 3 o'clock game. And then at 7 p.m., it was Miami Northwestern and Lakeland. So a tremendous amount of talent between the 3 games and the six teams. Coach Ira Reynolds, a guy that I've known for a long time that's involved with Sports for Change, had this event in mind. He invited us. It was originally supposed to be at a different venue. And before I accepted, I wanted to make sure that it made most sense for us. And we got to talking. And the next thing I know, we're having it at the Citrus Bowl. So we're hosting it here in Vero Beach and had, like I said, a tremendous amount of talent on the field in those 2 days. And really just a great way to kick off high school football, not just in the area, but throughout the state.
Yeah, it was. And let's talk about our ball game on Friday night. Miami Norland came to the Citrus Bowl, and, it was the first time for all of us to really see the boys under the lights, under live fire. I know you guys have been doing all kinds of stuff through the off season, but really first evaluation to see if all the hard work is paying off. You jumped out to a quick lead, 20-0. And, Gary and I are looking at each other going, whoa, man, these guys are out of the gate fast. I'm sure you had to be pretty excited after those 3 possessions ended up in 3 touchdowns.
Yeah, so we got off to a good start. And obviously against a very talented football team, I think one of the top programs in all classifications last season. And then, you have this small sample size of what to expect this season because, there's roster turnover and guys graduated. The one thing that we did know was that they were returning Division I secondary across the board. They had, I think, 4 D1 guys in their secondary that were returning starters last year, and some players all over the place that were very recognizable with college football coaches and high recruits. And so you didn't know what to really expect from a scheme standpoint. So for our guys to execute the way we did, get off to that good start. It was a lot of fun. There were some good things happening, in all 3 phases there early on. And it's something when I look at games and I get a chance to break it down after playing, we ended up and you figure we had 5 offensive possessions in that first half and we score on the first 3. And on the 4th one, we end up, attempting a punt. We have, again, another one of these reasons why you play this game under the lights with people. And we have an errant snap, and our defense responds to that and hold them to the, to a play where we get the ball, our 5th possession on the 1-yard line, and end up getting it out of there and end up running out of time. But you get 5 possessions and a half, and you score, like I said, on those 3, and you go into halftime 20-7, and I think you feel pretty good about the situation and all that. But you're kicking off to those guys They go down and score. It's 20-14. And, you're in a dogfight, and we go down, kick a field goal. Now the lead is, the lead gets bigger, but in a sense it's getting smaller because, they score. And that's kind of how it went in the second half. It was match for match, and had an opportunity to kick a field goal at the end to win it. And of course it just went left and didn't know how that was going to end. So we were prepared, getting ready for overtime, and, that got called off. And so I think really now that it's all been played out, you play a game to a 30-30 tie. Not that anybody's ever excited about a tie, but I think neither team feels too good or too bad about themselves. You got a lot of stuff in, and that's probably a good thing at this stage of the game.
Coach, it was one of those games that you have all the respect in the world for your opponent because you know how good they are,
right?
But they also know how good Vero Beach was or is. And again, I was not disappointed. I saw some firepower on both sides. I saw some great plays by our offense. I saw some great plays by the defense. That one stand down there when they got the ball on the 16-yard line on that bad snap and to hold them without scoring it without any points. What a great stand that was. I just felt there was two big teams going at each other, talented teams. And like you said, you had an opportunity, and those are things you learn in a game and you get the feeling. But I don't think anybody walked away disappointed at the players, at the way they played, to how hard they played. We saw guys cramping. They had guys cramping out there, and it was a hot night, and it was humid. And I was so proud of our effort by our kids and our fans and everything there. To me, it was a fun night. I know you don't like ties, but it was a fun night.
No, I agree. And I thank you. I mean, it is. You get so much. There's so much value into all of what you described, and even with, I know a lot of people talk like when you get to the middle of the season that as, okay, you're in mid-season form and you think, okay, well, that must mean that you've had an opportunity to eliminate all the mistakes. But a lot of that has to do with conditioning as well. So there's really, as tough as our kids work, as hard as they work throughout the spring, the summer, and into fall camp and through this week of game prep, there's still nothing like playing in a game and conditioning in a game. So you mentioned those cramps. It's stifling hot right now, and it's so thick, and and the humidity is. Even at practice, and like I said, it's just an opportunity for our guys to go out, compete at a very, very high level. Surely there are things that we made mistakes and we'll need to get corrected, but so much value into playing a game like that.
I agree.
Coach, one guy that seemingly had enough stamina for the whole game was Jonathan Hilsman. It was great to see him back out on the field after missing a season and a half, basically, with the injury to his knee. It was good to see him back out there. Very productive. I'm sure you had to be really, really happy with his performance.
Well, Jonathan, you go all the way back to his sophomore year where he was, arguably our most productive offensive player that year. And to lose him to a really tough injury, was hard. It was hard just because, as us as coaches, we get to know these guys and around these guys and so much more on a personal level than on a, coach to player level. You're just rooting for a guy to get back and get healthy. And so really just it's one of those things that can bring tears to your eyes, the work that he put in, work with our trainer, AJ, and all the time that they put in to get him back and playing. And then to go watch him perform like he does, it's just a lot of fun, and really, really proud of Jonathan. And
it was so fun to watch him play because he was hungry.
Right.
You could tell he had missed not being out there, and his approach to the game, his attitude. But one of the best things I liked about what he did, he picks up a blitz, a big blitz coming in, and he could level your quarterback, and he stands right up there and makes that block. That's the quality of, you talk about athletics, a good athlete and a guy that really wants to be back.
Yeah, he's a complete running back. So he runs the ball well, he catches it well out of the backfield, and probably the thing that gets unnoticed is he's very good in pass protection as well.
All right, well, we've got a lot to talk about here as we're in our season debut of Coach's Corner along with Gary and Coach. I'm Paul Tipton. When we come back, we're going to talk with our Scott Sporting Goods players of the game from last week, Bobby Burbick and Jonathan Hilsman. We'll have more right after this.
Hi, JW here from Barker Air Conditioning and Heating, serving the Indian River County area since 1959 and supporting fighting Indian sports for decades. We're known for being HVAC specialists for installation and service. Local, licensed, and insured, Barker is a trained comfort specialist that services all makes and models. BarkerAC.com.
Christian FM thanks Paris Family Chiropractic for their support. Dr. Matt Paris is a longtime resident of Vero Beach and a former quarterback for the Fighting Indians. Just like our Fighting Indians work hard for the win, Dr. Paris works hard for a patient's well-being. From proper alignment to good nutrition, Dr. Paris helps patients achieve the win. Paris Family Chiropractic. When the spine is in line, everything is fine. 299-4649 or parisfamilychiro.com. HBS Glass is a proud supporter of Fighting Indians Athletics and Christian FM. Since 1973, HBS Glass has served homeowners, architects, and contractors in the Vero Beach area. HBS Glass offers hurricane impact windows and doors. HBS Glass, 722 3rd Place or hbsglass.com. Thanks to HBS Glass.
The Coach's Corner, presented by Caps Pizza and Pub.
Well, welcome back here. We're at Caps Pizza tonight for Coach's our season debut, and we're getting set for our official season opener this week against O'Galley at the Citrus Bowl this Friday night. Make sure to get your tickets for that ball game. It's going to be a good one to get started for this season. Last Friday night, we got a chance to see the boys on the field in the Treasure Coast Kickoff Classic against Miami Norland. A couple of guys that were very productive in that ball game. To my left, Bobby Burbick. To my right, Jonathan Hillsman. Jonathan, I'm going to start with you, my friend, as it was really good to see you back out on the field after sustaining the injury that you did a season and a half ago. It was really good to see you back out there, man. Talk about the journey to get back to that Friday night and that ball game.
You know, it really took a long time. You know, you really want to be back on the field. You know, nobody wants to be hurt off the field, watching other people play. It took a long time, a long success. Like, it took a long time to get back on the field. I wish I would have got back on there faster, but, you know, Coach Jay took a long time, made sure I was right, made sure I was healed and everything before I got back on the field. And when I got back on the field, I did good plays.
So when you did finally get back out on the field, what was it like? What was the emotions for you?
Man, it was so much emotion. It's just like, it felt so good to be back on the field. Just you seeing you doing so good on the field, having your fans back, everybody on your name. It just feels so good.
What was your favorite play from Friday night?
My favorite play was probably like my first breakout play. It made me feel like I'm really back.
Yeah, you're really back. Yeah, it was good to see. Bobby, the defense, you know, there was a lot of holes that had to be filled. You had a lot of guys that graduated from last year. Talk about getting ready for this game and how you guys were able to build chemistry going into this ball game as a new defensive unit.
So we just knew the opponent we had coming up in front of us. We just knew what we had with our talent-wise, and we honestly just gelled together really quickly. And I think just the chemistry that we have really helped us do good.
One thing I noticed about, you know, last year you were playing more on the edge. Now you're more
Right.
towards the inside. What's that change like for you?
It's definitely love or hate. You know, I like being on the outside, but it's also fun being on the inside. But I think they see me as like a dual threat, being in and out. And if I can perform on both, you know, I'm happy. I'm happy like that.
Well, you were certainly in the backfield quite a bit, man, wreaking some havoc, especially early on the ball games.
Yes,
What was this move? What was this?
That's the grave digger. Digging a grave and burying them.
Gotcha.
Yes, sir.
So, you know, you've had this whole summer, you know, fall camp, as we like to say, and then you finally get into a game where you're playing an opponent you don't know anything about. What was that like for you? I mean, you get the emotions moving, and but take the first couple of snaps. Was it like a shock to the system, or were you like, okay, yeah, this is football?
Well, me personally, like I was out for the whole summer because I couldn't train as my ankle was hurt. So, I mean, we didn't have much to prepare for that team anyways. Like we didn't have any film to watch. So we just had to play ball and just play ball. And getting back on the field really just felt like home. Like I missed it so much. I was away from it so long. It just felt like home.
Jonathan, this is, you know, like we talked about, you know, it's been about a season and a half since you've been out on the football field. You come back, now you've got a sophomore quarterback, Champ Mons. What's it like to play with Champ?
you know, we both running the ball. It's like they don't know, they can't stop us. Me and Chump, he's a great quarterback, young, great quarterback. You can just do great things with him.
All right, so now we work our way towards the start of the season. We got O'Galley, and they're at our place this year. Last year we had to travel up there. Felt like we got robbed of a win. So I'm sure that's been a little bit on your minds. What do you see about O'Galley at this point? What do you expect to see?
I mean, I heard great things about him. All we got to do is just show up, do our thing, and we're going to be good.
All right, Bobby, from your standpoint, what do you see from O'Galley at this standpoint?
I don't see anything. I think we're gonna dominate them all night.
All right. Well, we'll see what happens. Well, guys, appreciate your time and good luck this season to both of you. And it's good to have you here tonight. And we'll have more Coach's Corner coming your way right after this.
Comfort Zone AC and Heating of Vero Beach has been servicing Indian River County for over 40 years, using only certified technicians. As a Christian, family, and veteran-owned and operated business, they offer comprehensive air conditioning, heating, and indoor air quality solutions to their clients. Online at ComfortZoneACNow.com. Proud supporters of Fighting Indians.
Summers in Florida mean hot weather with lots of rain. Having gutters that work well is a must for most homes. Thanks to Able Gutter Services for their partnership. They provide premium products crafted to ensure customer satisfaction while protecting from water damage and maintaining structural integrity. Able Gutter Services in Indian River, St. Lucie, and Brevard County. Their number is 772-766-2554.
Christian FM can put this game on the radio thanks to the support of businesses like Chuck Bateman State Farm Insurance in Vero Beach. Chuck's goal is to create an atmosphere where customers can talk about what's important to them. He's also a huge supporter of our local chapter of the Fellowship of Christian Athletes. Chuck's phone is 567-1106 or chuckbatemaninsurance.com.
The Coach's Corner, presented by Caps Pizza and Pub.
Back here at Caps Pizza, where we are in Coach's Corner. It's our season debut. Glad to have you here. By the way, folks, don't miss an opportunity to come to the Citrus Bowl this Friday night. The season opener against O'Galley. Kickoff time is at 7 o'clock. So if you haven't got your tickets yet, make sure you get your tickets. You can get them at the school. So just stop by the Vero Beach High School and pick up your tickets for this Friday night as we get our season opener underway. All right, Coach, I want to talk to you about after a game Friday night, and it's it's an exhibition game. Can that be like one of the biggest jumps with learning for the students or the players after they've had a game like that?
Yeah, I think you're always going to find that you should, if things are going the way they need to be going, you should make your biggest improvements from the first time you go out against an opponent to the next time, especially in this sport where there's so many of those things that we're talking about in all three phases where, you get an opportunity to go live in all our different special teams. And that's very hard to simulate in practice going against a different, going against your own guys and then being able to adjust on the fly. You can work against a scout team and you can pretend that you know what they're going to do and try to simulate those kinds of things. But you really, to get that to be full speed, it's near impossible. And so getting an opportunity to do that and see where you stand. And really, there's a lot of things that come up when you're under the lights for the first time. There are guys that sometimes are great practice players that get an opportunity to play when it's happening that, may still need some fine tuning or need some work. I think some of the details that you emphasize from a coaching standpoint, that shows up for the good, the bad, and the ugly during a game where you get an opportunity to go against an opponent. The thing that we try to put an emphasis on is for our players and try to impress our players with the value of practice. I think a lot of times, depending on where you're coming from and, let's say you're a rec league or a youth league hero where you've had so much success and you've been the guy and practicing, really, I mean, you just think about it. It may or may not be that critical if you're that much better than the guys you're playing against. And so to try to get, our student athletes to understand how important and how critical it is to practice and practice the right way. That's something that, I think this team does as well as any that I've coached. And, obviously it's a constant emphasis and re-emphasis on all those things. But I think, all in all, getting back to your original question, I think you are looking to make the biggest strides from this game to the next.
We didn't really touch in the earlier segment about, you mentioned special teams. You've got a new kicker this year, and I thought he did a pretty good job. I mean, a missed extra point, a chance to win it at the end, a missed field goal, but still overall, kickoffs looked good. I mean, he actually hit, about a 29 or 30-yard field goal, I believe.
Yeah, so we've got actually two guys, and Riley Swanson and Jay Maurer. Both guys are super talented. Jay moved over here from Tampa. His mom actually graduated from Vero, so that's a pretty neat story. And then, Riley's been here since the spring, and both kids are super talented. Jay also duels as Bobby likes to describe him, as a dual threat himself, as a dual threat, because he plays D tackle and DN. Jay's also a punter and is going to handle all the punting duties. So Jay can do the punting and the kicking. Riley's more, of the place kicker type, but both super talented. And, I think we're going to count on those guys and really excited about both those guys being in the program.
As long as we can get the snap to the punter, we'll be okay, right?
Yeah. And that's the thing. And we had multiple penalties on special teams, those things that, again, it's one of the reasons that you play one of these games, because when you go and you work special teams and again, coaches all over the place, put an emphasis on special teams. I'd like to think that we put as much emphasis on it as anybody. But when you're practicing and you're going live, punt against punt return, some of those guys play on both. So it's tough to really get a great look.
Yeah.
Are you emphasizing that, the mouthpieces need to be in and the knee pads need to be covered and the back plates need to, there's not. So you need to do that. That needs to happen, even though it's emphasized and overemphasized. And, I'm sure I sound like want to a lot of players that have played for me, but it sometimes you need to make a mistake to do it. And so you get an opportunity to do this in a game. You hope that you make those corrections.
Coach, one of the things that impressed me, and I look for at the skill set, and I love watching, because you have so many different formations and so many different movements, and pieces are all going in different directions sometimes. But I enjoy the maturity of your kids, how they handle, how they respond. I mean, you run a very a system that really you work to get somebody open every play. And it's not just fundamentally all one type. You're moving things around. I really appreciated the maturity of the young kids you got out there. You got last year. You still got a lot of sophomores and juniors that are playing right now from last year's team, and it seems like the maturity of the game is really there.
Right. Well, I think that everybody's got good plays, right? And when you have good players, they look a lot better. And so we've got good players, and I surely appreciate your compliment, but we have some really, really talented kids that put in a lot of good work, and they make us coaches look good, and so it's fun. There's not anything that I enjoy more than going to practice. I really do love being at practice and preparing for practice and being out there on the field. It's my most enjoyable part of the day. I enjoy practice as much as I do the games, and our players, they work tirelessly to work and emphasize those details. And so it may appear to be, a lot of moving parts and all, but we try to at least make it as simple as possible for our guys and put them in positions to showcase their skill set. That's the deal.
Well, Coach, get started Friday night. You got O'Galley at the Citrus Bowl, and this is a start of a tough stretch here for the next 4 weeks. We got 3 games at home, 1 on the road, which we'll head up to Gainesville in a couple of weeks. But this Friday night, it is O'Galley, a team that we lost to last year up there in O'Galley Stadium. You got a couple of stars coming back for this team. What do you expect from O'Galley this year?
Well, I've got tremendous respect for those guys. I remember last year was the first time we had played them in several years, and it was the opening game, and we came up short. Obviously, we could go through that, play by play if we needed to, but but we came up short and we didn't get the results that we were looking for. And I remember coming away from that game thinking, you know what, disappointed, but it was a pretty talented football team we played. And then they end up in the Final Four. And I think, people say, oh, well, maybe they were okay, because I know when you come up short, there's disappointment in everybody. And so what their coaching staff has done, they've got some very, very talented players, some big time recruits coming back. They're one of the premier teams in the state in all class. Not that I'm big on the ranking system, but I know that they've got a high ranking and I think I saw something where their coach is hoping that they're playing in the state championship game this year, which I guess most are probably this point in the season. And so, but anyway, I got a tremendous amount of respect. Their quarterback is a very talented player. He's back again this year. He's a year smarter, a year older. He's a junior and a big time prospect. They got I'm not great with names, so I just usually remember and know the players by numbers. But if our fans are looking for numbers, they've got number 11, who's a guy that's a dynamic player, a very, very talented guy. I think he's an Oregon commit or something crazy like that. And number 6 is one of the best freshmen, not just in the state but in the country. Number 0 is a very good player. Number 7 is a good player. So these guys really pop on film, and so we'll have our hands full for sure.
Well, Coach, like I said, you've got a tough stretch here to get started. We've got some really tough teams on this schedule this year, and include Buchholz again. We'll travel up to Gainesville. You got Cocoa on the on the schedule. Around you got the 2A defending state champion here. So it's going to be a tough stretch here for the next 3 weeks, and of course, then we get district play with Centennial to round up those first 4 weeks. Man, it's pretty much of a gauntlet there for you.
Yeah, we're excited. I mean, obviously, we're keeping our eyes on the road for this week and taking care of business. Here we are on a Tuesday night. I was just meeting with the players after practice today, just saying, when you get into this game prep kind of week, you've got a checklist of things that you need to get done each and every day during this week. And so Monday's checklist, we were successful there, and Tuesdays we had a good Tuesday today, and hopefully. Tomorrow already being Wednesday, when you walk yourself through that, when you're getting ready for Friday night, you're like, whoa, we're already at Wednesday. We've got to make sure that we're getting it in. So it's fun, it's enjoyable. It's surely consuming. That's for sure. But we have a lot of fun, and I'm very fortunate to be around some great kids and some great coaches.
All right, folks. Well, there you have it. That's our first Coach's Corner here in the books. Thanks for joining us here tonight. Don't forget, get your tickets for this Friday night at the Citrus Bowl. We got O'Galley in the house for the season opener. I'd love to have you there. And Vero Nation be out in full support for our boys on Friday night. Gary Paris, Coach Jankowski, I'm Paul Tipton. Thanks for joining us. As always, go Indians.
Thanks for watching the Coach's Corner, presented by Caps Pizza and Pub.